Hey everyone, it is Shannon and I'm here today to do another video for series talk. Today I will be talking about The Ill-Made Knight by T.H. White, which is part of the Once and Future King series. If you are unfamiliar with my series talk style of videos, these are in-depth content-filled videos that are discussion-y videos about books within series, so it is not a spoiler-free type of video. It is one where the expectation is either you've read the book and we're going to talk about it, or you don't care about spoilers and like, let's talk about it. So that's the style of it. I will leave a link up above to my introduction to series talk, and I will also link down below the discussions for the first two books in the series, which is The Sword and the Stone and The Queen of Air and Darkness. So as I mentioned, today we are talking about The Ill-Made Knight. This is by T.H. White, and it is the third book in the Once and Future King series. It was published in 1940, and this series is complete at 4 to 5 books, depending on how you look at it. The bind-up that I have of the Once and Future King is the first 4 books, and then there is also the Book of Merlin, which was published later. So I don't know, I think some people consider it complete at 4 books, and some people consider it complete at 5 books, but it is definitely complete. The genre, if you are unfamiliar, is obviously, or, you know, familiar or unfamiliar, it's an Arthurian tale, so it follows King Arthur. So it has elements of fantasy, not so much this one. This one does have definitely romance in the sort of like old school romance sense, and not like current day romance novel sense. Like it's more tragic. And there also is I would put this one in adventure. It actually took me a fair amount of time to read. It took me 2.5 months to get through, and it is, out of the books so far, I think it's the longest at what did I put where that starts? Starts at like 311 to 513, but the text is, in my version, is very, very small. So it is 200 pages, and it's a lot of chapters. It was like 50 chapters or something like that, which was good because I could read it in little chunks, and that was helpful. So it took me 2.5 months to read it. I ended up giving it only a 7.5 out of 10 or a 3 out of 5, which we're going in diminishing returns here. So I went like 5, 4, 3 in terms of regular stars, so that's not super awesome. It features, or it focuses on the character of Lancelot, and you know, his tale, his involvement in the you know, in Arthurian court, and talks about the Round Table a fair amount, but a bit distanced. And then, of course, because it's Lancelot, we also are talking about Guinevere and Elaine, and there is a fair amount of Lancelot's religion and focus on God as well. And then there was also some stuff about the Orkneys, which who were introduced in the previous book, but I could not follow that story like at all. It was only a small part, like it was a small focus part of it towards the end of this book. They talk about them. There's quite an ordeal with them, and I was like, could not follow, and they explained it several times, and it is complicated. It's a bit of a like a mini revenge plot, like this person did this, so this person did that, so this person did this, so this person did that. The family, there's two families sort of warring, like not warring, but like, you know, vengefully on each other. That's not even a word, making up words here. Anyway, and then this also includes the quest for the Holy Grail. So I actually found like it was a bit all over the place, because even though it focuses on Lancelot, it has a sort of distanced storytelling style. It was linear, but it didn't feel like, I felt like we didn't get from Lancelot's perspective a lot, and or like it just felt like nothing went right for him, which is weird because one of the things that his character is sort of known for is being like the best knight ever. So much, and of course it's a tragic tale when you have like the love triangle of Arthur, Lancelot, and Guinevere, but there wasn't a lot of focus on that. Like I actually feel like from reading other works, I get a stronger sense of that. This one you don't get a super sense that he loved her, but it's the you know, he loves her, but he you know, she's married to Arthur, and they don't even talk so much about Arthur being his best friend, which is often something that's focused on in Arthurian tales, but it was just sort of like, it is off limits. One of the most fascinating things I actually found about this one, and there's a huge, I felt like it was very tragic, the whole story with Elaine, which again I don't think it's focused on, which is a woman who he saves her, and he thinks that this is sort of like, that's the epic thing that's going to make him be a, like, not a saint, but like do such a fascinating deed and unbelievable deed, and then sort of like in the eyes of God he will be, you know, seen, he will be brought up or something. There's something like that. I found that you can already tell I found this one hard to follow. But so he saves her from some situation, but then she woos him, you know, and he sleeps with her. But apparently, this is something I don't remember coming up in anywhere else, that they say that he says miracles can only be done by virgins. And because she did this to him, because she wooed him and ruined him, I guess, you know, he feels defeated in life because his goal is to create a miracle, or to have a miracle happen, like to achieve a miracle. And so like not only like previously we already had the whole Guinevere, you know, Arthur love triangle thing going on, and then this happens, and so he just seems defeated, like from a relationship standpoint, and then also from a sort of knight standpoint, because he, you know, he doesn't feel like he can do that much. Like he always seems to win single combat, but like sort of like bigger life goals just doesn't seem to happen. So this one I found really a bit tough. Like I didn't enjoy reading it. I felt like I didn't feel like we had a lot of access to his character. Everything was tragic and he was so skilled. So it was this weird combination of like, it feels like he should have everything, but in essence it feels like he has nothing, and that's heartbreaking. And then even the quest for the Holy Grail felt like so much in the background. Like we see like Arthur decides to do this because he's created, like, you know, it seems like they've like won all the wars, but now they have all these warriors and people that want to fight, and you need something to do with them. So he creates the quest for the Holy Grail. Let's find something that was touched by God or created by God or left by God. I can't remember the specific wording they used, and sends out people to all, you know, edges of the universe, or the island, or wherever, like the world, to try and find it. And like it just, you know, cuts the ranks. Like it just, and that's not the right term, like it just, so many people don't come back, or they come back, you know, injured and defeated. So this one, like there was so much, the theme felt like defeat, which was not what I was expecting, even though of course the ill-made knight, like it just, you get that from that. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I would be very curious to hear other people's thoughts on this one, because Lancelot seems to be one of those characters generally that I thought he would be likable. I thought his you know, his even his like he's a conflicted character. I think that's always something that's present, but there is a sort of like truth to him and purity to him, and I felt like that wasn't present. It was like about him being ruined and how that was what he had always wanted to do, and now he couldn't, you know. And I don't remember if he ends up marrying Elaine or not, but he does end up staying there for a while. He has a son. It's actually his son who ends up like finding the Holy Grail. They barely focus on that at all. And then they do start to introduce near the end, like the Mordred, who is Arthur's bastard son, and who I think is the one who stirred up the trouble with the Orkneys. And so you're starting to see where things are going there, and also starting to see the passing the torch to the next generation, because both of their adult sons are now starting to do things. And I can't even remember if his son, I think this is horrible, I should have looked it up. I can't remember if I think it's Gawain. It's either Gawain or Galahad. And it's weird because often in films, Arthurian films or TV shows, they seem to be the same age. And I think that's why I never remember who Lancelot's son is by Elaine. And because it just seems to be another knight. Whereas Mordred, like, you know, I think also Mordred I know because like there was a game that I played called Dark Ages of Camelot, and the Mordred server was a PvP server, so you knew the people who picked that one. They were like, they were hardcore. Like I couldn't play on that one. I played on mostly on I can't remember, Bedivere and Boars. Anyway, so it's just sort of weird. Like a mode, you know, like tangent there. So anyway, so yeah, this was a challenge. It was harder to read than I thought. It was twice as long as the last book. It is the longest in this series though, so I am at the tipping point. I passed the midpoint, and I will be reading the next one. I think it's The Candle in the Wind, which is more like 120 pages, and so I will be moving on to that one and then reading the Book of Merlin, which is the 5th sort of like extra book. I don't know. And I'm hoping to finish these in 2019, but we shall see if that ends up happening. I'm not sure. But yeah, so this one was a bit of a downer. I would say thematically, just like the tone of it, and I didn't enjoy it as much. And so that's really, it's like I really feel strongly about wanting to complete the series this year, but so far it's like started like here with Sword in the Stone, and Queen of Air Darkness was a little like this, and Ill-Made Knight's a little like this. So hopefully the next one moves up. I don't know if it's just hopefully it'll have a different theme or a different level of engagement or something. Like, you know, I just really thought I would just enjoy Lancelot's character. There was also almost I think there was no Merlin in this. Nemu was in it very briefly, but there's no Merlin, and I love the character Merlin, so hopefully he shows up in the next one. That would be delightful. So let me know your thoughts on the Ill-Made Knight. Did you enjoy it? What are the themes that you thought were like the most interesting? How do you feel about the character of Lancelot? I'm curious to see where everything will go. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back soon with another video.